Hello and welcome guys. Architect Siddhant here today, and today we are going to discuss about landscape design. So basically what we are going to discuss about landscape designing is what is landscape designing and what some of the factors are involved in landscape designing. And for that today we have one of the best landscape designer I have personally worked with. Her name is Architect Mansi Matre. So first of all, welcome to our show, Mansi.
Hi, hello everyone. It's so nice to be here. So yeah, thank you.
So now I know about her background, right? So little bit about her background. So I want the audience to know. So for those audience, can you tell us about your background and how you became a landscape designer?
Okay. So firstly, I would like to tell you all about my architectural background. I completed my architecture from Dr. Deva Patil College of Architecture, Navi Mumbai, and then I thought of pursuing landscape. So that's not actually when I thought of pursuing landscape. I've always been connected to nature. Not I did not know what landscape was, but nature was all I knew from the childhood. So as also I had a background of my dad owned a plants nursery. So right from there I was connected to nature. And then what better than pursuing architecture and then learning the green and the spaces that are connecting the architecture on which architecture is. So yeah, therefore I pursued landscape architecture and I pursued masters in landscape architecture from School of Planning and Architecture Vijayawada. So yeah.
So that was a hell of an introduction, I must say. So basically, she choose landscape designing. So that is a stepping stone because they had on plants nursery. So from childhood only, she was learning about plants and stuff. So it is a helping hand for her and truly beneficial that she chose a career related to that, which enhances and puts it to a whole another level. So yeah, I would like to ask you, how do you approach a new landscape designing project?
Okay, so before answering to this, I would like to tell you all that landscape is not just trees. People think okay, just that planting few trees makes a person a landscape architect or something like that. No, it is basically understanding everything, every detail about the site, the topography, right from the water, the hydrology, the density, the existing trees, the type of soil, and all of that. So, landscape architecture is the combination of all of this. And then comes architects who design the built structures that. So, landscape it considers of hardscapes as well as softscapes. So, hardscapes have say water features, have pavements and all. And then landscape has the softscape has the plants and everything. And like to answer your question, um, basically how how do we perceive a
New
site, right?
landscape design
New
project,
landscape
yes, yes.
design project. So first is to understand the site. It's not that you study something and you just go apply it everywhere, but to understand the site existing things on site, the best design is something that the minimalistic is the best thing. So by not hampering the existing topography, that's the contours of the site, by retaining the existing plants on the site and then beautifying it with the additional features, the requirements of the client, as well as using say um, the understanding the users as well. So the functionality and also the aesthetics comes after understanding the site and everything. So that's how you pursue, by understanding the site first and then going ahead with the designing part of it and understanding the requirements of the client.
Okay, so I think that also includes little bit information about our next question, which was how do you approach the design process after getting a project from initial concept to final implementation. So what would be the process?
Okay, so the process, every architect should first, like I said in the previous answer itself, understand the site conditions. Once the site conditions are well versed with, then you understand, and then you start giving the design concepts firstly. So obviously every client has their own things in mind, but as an architect, as a landscape architect, it is our duty to open a big new chapter for them, to make it a wider concept. Also, while considering the requirements that the client has. So, considering that as well as giving the client the new concepts will come after understanding the site. And then once the site, the concepts, everything is done, and then you go with the designing part of it without hampering. Again and again, I would say this, without hampering the existing features on site, because already every site has its features, has their microclimate within it, has different, you know, and like
Zonal conditions
zonal
and
conditions, and also has different living, non-living, or living organisms in it. So basically, you're not
basically
just
the flora
considering
and
the
fauna.
flora and fauna. You're not just considering the humans, but also the the rest, the plants, the birds, the
The
animals,
insects, the
everything.
butterfly, for
Yeah,
example.
yeah. So considering all this, so the spaces are not just for humans, but for everyone in the site and around it.
So to maintain the life cycle, I must
Yeah,
say.
it's like the balance, to maintain the balance for both.
Okay, so which brings us to our next question. Now that is key. What are some of the biggest challenges you face in your work as a landscape designer?
Okay, so see, every site conditions, everything, every space is different. Even if it is in the same city, your sites are going to be different. So the most challenging thing is as to how, if we get a specific uh, site, say per se, to design that site, while you're designing, how you're getting significance not just to the site but the areas around. Like, when you're designing, it's not just like, your mindset, it should not just be about the site but an broader area. And only when you think about all these, so these are the challenges when you think about, like, say, a 5 kilometer radius, as to how that our site is going to like,
Stand out.
stand out, or say in a positive way or hamper. You have to think about both the positives and the negatives. So say if I design something, am I hampering, or am I doing something, or to the other surroundings or something like that. So say in a residential area, if I provide something that is going to disturb it, so no, that's a negative thing. So those are a few challenges that every architect should keep in mind when you're designing a site. So those are the challenges when you're not just designing the site but thinking about a larger context as well.
So one more thing I would like to add to this is we also have to think about the surrounding, like Mansi mentioned, ki if the zoning and this is nice, but the surrounding factors have many factories or other industries around that landscape area. So we have to also consider the factor that lots of trucks will pass through there, right? So it will attract lots of dust and mud, so which will affect the plant. So those points also we have to consider while designing, and those are some of the challenges we have to face. It's not just about the zoning, the sun path, or the wind direction in that area, but also these kind of things and what the area consists, the history about the area. This is
Yeah,
also can be one of the challenges we have to face.
correct.
And
Yes.
then let's hop to our next question is how do you stay current with new landscape design trends and techniques? Like how do you stay current, means how do you know ki these are currently trending design factors or trending things in landscape designing or techniques?
Okay, so see, what I think actually, it's like, yeah, nowadays everyone is with the trend, goes with the trend, wants new things with their design, or require design, new features and everything. But I feel the vernacularity of every project, the history of the space, everything is the base of every project. Then comes the trending things. So now say if the trending things. So as per my thought process in the trending thing is how quick can it be done? How affordable can it be done? So all these new things, these trendy things can come considering both the new technologies as well as the vernacularity in that thing. So say if I have to think about like new things, the aesthetical part of it is one thing, but also obviously the functional, say economically, everything also comes
Yeah,
in a
of
trendy
course, it
thing.
should be budget
Yes.
friendly as well. Also,
Yeah, so new trendy things like there are so many things now that are coming up, which say you have features which are something like in daylight, but then as per the requirement rainy season you can actually put up a button and then you have a shade on it. So so all these things have to be kept in mind and then inculcated in design as well, but not like forgetting about the vernacularity of because something that is happening in US we cannot just blindly do it here because it is trending. Everything,
correct, correct.
every climate, the conditions, everything has to be considered and then implemented. That is why, therefore, the
The
vernacularity.
selecting plants
Yes,
and look.
that is why the combination of vernacularity and trendiness should be together. Yeah, that's my take on the trendy.
Okay, can you walk us through a particular or exciting project which is unique, which you have worked on?
Okay, so that's like a tough question.
Unique
Because
can be in the sense ki any unusual or any different thing you had integrated in that project.
Okay, so I'll have to think a bit. Okay, yeah, so there were a few projects. So see, for every architect, when they're designing, they all they give their best to the client. Their always thing is to give the best to the client.
Yeah, something new, something
Something that is
which
going
is
to
not
stand
available.
out.
Yes, correct.
Something that So there was this project that I was working on, which was like a weekend home, and the client wanted. So see, I won't say that this thing hasn't happened before, or it's not there, but that was something that I provided, and the client um, really liked it. And yeah, so I think that the thought process that I had in my mind was implemented and was successful. So what I tried to do is, in the bungalow, they wanted a place where there is transition of spaces and the connect of the open spaces and the built. So basically, it should be a seamless connection of the built and the unbuilt. So I tried to design. So now here comes the blend of landscape architecture and architecture. So how well can I design the bungalow considering all the green spaces? So I had provided that bungalow, I designed the bungalow in such a way that all the transition spaces that I have, so if say I'm entering the bungalow, so it's not just an entrance where I'm connecting. I have my pavements and then directly I'm entering a bungalow. No. So that I created transitions such that I have a seamless connection and one does not understand why when he's reaching the entrances. So the flow, like I tried to merge the landscapes and the build structures in such a way that there was seamless connection. So there were many openings to the structure. So because of that, I provided courtyards in the center, and then because of which there was less usage of light during the daytime because all those things were considered. There was direct sunlight coming into that. There were green spaces. One could experience rainfall right sitting inside the living room because of the courtyard that was provided. It felt as if you're sitting outside but still you're within the walls. So I think that's what I could achieve by providing those seamless transition spaces, and I think that's one unique thing that I could implement. So yeah.
Wow. That was a really great perspective while designing, and I think that's what some of the things you should look for achieving while designing. Key to how should be the look and feel of it, because architecture is not just designing; it is shaping our future in some of a kind, and that is where you create your memories and stuff. So while this designing, these are some of the factors you keep in mind which helps you to achieve these kind of things, like you know
That's correctly said, like you say. So we, think about anthropometry, about every space. It plays a very important role considering these. If one small mistake you say give an increased measurement in a thread would, I mean, this is just an example that I'm giving you, but if per se there's a small kid that is staying in the house and you provide a greater measurement of, so say 150 is the standard for the thread, but then if you provide 300 to it, and if the kid is using and just starting to learn how to walk, and then daily that kid is using it, that could affect his knees, like so these are very small things that because of aesthetic we like, yeah, because we feel, oh, it's gonna look good, and then we want big things, and but then they have a direct impact on the people who are using.
correct.
So yeah, it's very important for architects to understand that, for everyone to understand these points.
So how do you balance the aesthetic and functional aspects of a landscape design? Like, how do you balance the aesthetic appeal of a space while considering the means functionalities and maintenance of that space?
Okay, so what I feel? I feel once the functions are considered once, because functions, see, it's not just about aesthetics if you have something, but it's the users who are going to use it. It's the functions that are going to take place.
Yeah.
If you say design these functionals properly, you can have several aesthetics to it. But it should not be the other way, other way around. When you have like something in mind, but then even if you have that in mind, you should have those functions done properly. If you place those functional activities properly in place, considering different users. So see, why am I repeating the different users every time? So say let's take a residential project per se. So let's residential project, say a high-rise building. So there are different users to it. You have your residents who are living in the building. There are people who are going to come by car. There are people who are going to come by pedestrian, that's walking. There are going to be maids who are going to use it as well. So generally, they are always going to take the shorter distance. So how
Correct.
is that? So it's not that you design something for aesthetics and then people are just using those paths and but then if you consider
It should be
those,
functional as well.
if you actually, while designing itself, consider their pathways, their patterns, if you inculcate those in your designs, it's actually going to help that as well as aesthetically be good and manageable. So yeah, so say there are going to be drop off areas, there are going to be visitors who are going to come. So what is their movement? How are the kids going to use the space that is beneath the building? How are the old people going to use it? Is there a space for that? If they don't have a space, are the kids going to hamper the privacy that the elders will have? So all these points have to be considered, and then when you have these points considered functionally, you can have several options for aesthetic.
Correct.
So, yeah, I think that's the answer.
So by this, I think the functional aspect or the maintenance part is the main we should consider beforehand. After that, we can make it aesthetically appealable anyhow we want it, or according to the designer, right?
Correct.
So let's come to our next question. Can you discuss some of the latest innovations in this field of landscape design? Like for example, right? First, people used to buy a house next to a river because they want a scenery, or some want a gushing sound, right?
Correct.
So nowadays there are many inventions, I must say, which creates the gushing sound, or you can create a artifact which create the gushing sounds and give you similar experience. I would say not that exact same experience, but similar experience to that. So what are any other innovations in the field of landscape design which you may know?
Okay, so innovations in landscape. Basically, what has happened is because of lack of space, because of so much of development, people think that the only greens that are remaining is something that you plant in front of the trees. That's all. But that's not it. When you have innovations in landscape, there are different technologies that go into it. Like you rightly said, you have the sound that plays a very important role. Then there's lighting nowadays. That
Yes,
those are different innovations. Now different innovations is, like I said, there's less space. There's hydroponics. There's aquaponics.
oh,
That's because you have no space for farming. There's a new concept that is come out, that's square foot farming. That is one
oh,
square foot provided for farming for because nowadays people don't know landscape. People don't know which plant what is. They don't know basics about how a fruit is on how a fruit looks on a tree. Which plant is, I mean, if it's a chiku, how does it look on a tree? You know, it's
correct,
it just they just know, they just go by it. But then that all these things, you have aquaponics created, you have hydroponics created. Because of that, there's less space. There are many things, and it gives a new dimension to landscape is what I feel. And because of these, people can actually, and I have seen there are so many people who have started implementing in their balconies. On just one wall they have these vertical greens that are coming.
correct. I have
Because
seen those as well.
horizontally, yes,
Like some of them
horizontally
have
you lack of
vegetable
space.
gardens also.
They have vegetable gardens nowadays. Every balcony they've started creating these vegetable gardens. They have started aquaponics in on their rooftops. They are having, so how to use these new technologies in the minimal spaces that we have, but yet have your greens, consume your greens. So yeah, I mean it's not possible for every person to have a village and go back to there and have the feel of it, have the touch of it, grow a plant. So because of these new technologies in landscape, new inventions, we are able
We can,
to do
yes, we can have those kind of things in our comfort of our home,
that.
right?
Correct.
This is changing times. What more can I say? And can you talk about a project that pushed you out of your limit, like out of your comfort zone, I would say? And what are the main experiences you gained through it, and what are the main things you learned in that?
Okay.
It can be any project which was a huge learning factor for you.
Okay. So I was also very surprised when this thing happened with me. So there was this one project that I was doing. It was a bungalow, and besides it, even though there were no contours, I mean, definitely it was a flat land previously. But see, this is what happens. A person right besides the bungalow, the other property, the adjacent property, what they did while they had their construction and everything, they pushed all the mud and everything, and they raised their level. And because of the level raised in the adjacent property, the design, the plot that I was designing had a lower level, and because of which the water had started clogging in that. So it was very difficult for the users over there to use it every rainy season because the water channeling was not thought about. So now it was really important for us to understand that, okay, is this a solution that even if we start raising the level of our plot, the ground level, is that going to help? No, it is obviously, if we do the same thing, that is going to hamper the side besides us. So that was not a thing. We also could not go to the adjacent property and say, okay, now you have to reduce your ground level.
Correct.
Because that's not how you do. So what we did was, we tried to create channeling, we tried to grade the property in such a way that, and not just by providing hardscape. So see, the client also told us, you know what, we think just to, do the pavement and give a proper slope so that there's no clogging and there's no any irritation that we have about mud and all this. We just have all these pavers and it's all done. So I said, no, you should not be doing that. I feel if we provide proper channeling, we provide swales, we provide. So what I did was, there was this one particular area where there was water cloud. So what I tried to propose them is, so see, I told them, let's have multiple use to that area. That area will be used as a different kind of concave area when there's no rains. You have different plants growing on it. But then during rainy season, we create it like an aqua pond, and all the channeling that is coming on the area, you have that created in that pond, and you create that as water storage and a different land feature. So your negative is actually getting created into a positive, wherein
which also enhances the space.
Yeah, if there is water coming to it, you actually channelize it. So instead of actually filling it, we started digging that area and created a depth to it, so that all the water that is coming on the land can be channelized and put into that area, that is the pond. So during the other seasons, it is, you can see the plants, and then during the rainy season, it's filled. So yeah, I think that's one thing I did.
Wow, that was great way to turning and enhancing a space into something new and using the negative to turn it into a positive factors, right? So that's how smart designs work, I think. That's how creative architects should be. And it should be like instant. For you should, it is truly challenging and it brings you out of the comfort zone, but it's life-changing thing that when you're creating the negative into a positive, which is a great thing, I must say.
Yeah.
So one more thing I would like to ask you is, can you talk about the role of technology in landscape design, both in now and in future, right? Like one point I would like to add is how plants are grown internally, right? Plants need sunlight. Some of plants are semi-shade, some of are shadow loving, some of are sun loving. So what technology plays a very important role. We provide interior lighting to plants, which gives the.
We have greenhouses, we have
Correct.
glass houses. So we
Correct.
have a glass house that actually create different. So say there are exotic plants that don't grow over here, but then we actually provide that environment for them to, so technology has helped us do that. Unfortunately, we did not have that back then, but then now that we have, the technology has increased so much that we have. Okay, so there's this technology of GIS that I have. So GIS is one technology because of which we have started, getting information on the site of, say, hydrology, topography, the density. So sitting on the ground by these technologies, we can understand how your site is, how in, say, future the floodline is going to be, and all that. So technology is something that has helped landscape grow so much.
To put it on a next level, I would say.
Correct.
And to create. So this is a very important, and I think it is helped a lot in many aspects. Like you can create any other environment,
right? So
in itself, which would grow any other native or
native. Correct. So yeah, I also
plans.
sorry to say I just said GIS. So not everyone would know. So I would like to mention the full form of GIS. So GIS is basically Geographic Information System. So that is a system that it's a computer system that analyzes and displays different geographical reference informations like topography, soil type, the density, the vegetation data, the building data, the street data, and also it has an integration of all these data. So yeah, that was that.
So yeah, so that's one of the thing is key. You can create many various fruits, but it is
Because of the
not
technology.
economical because of the
Correct.
technology. But there are various projects going on to make it affordable, and it should be economical to everyone, each one of us.
Correct.
Ongoing landscape designs and projects which will then incorporate in the future in their designs. So that's it for today. And one more question I would like to ask you before ending this session is, what advice would you like to give the young people who are looking to choose landscape designing as their career? What's the one piece of advice or one thing you feel that I would have known this before starting my career as a landscape designing, which would help me in various different things?
Like I just rightly said before, like landscape is not just plants. So every individual should understand and also understand the importance of every plant, its characteristics, its functions, its uses, and everything. And I would, like every person I meet, I literally try to tell them as to how important landscape is. I mean, what is a person without greens in a life? What are we without, like, the earth, the mother earth has given us so much, and we're literally trying in this world. We are starting building. It's like literally become a concrete jungle. But then now, as I hope, at least it's my aim, it's my motto. I would really be thankful if I could just give at least few percent, contribute something to the earth, to our country, to the world. Because it's very important, because otherwise we won't sustain at all. It's the concrete
Correct.
jungle that is increasing. But if we start having and thinking about every minute detail, how we can inculcate, even if in a very small space we have to design. But it's very important to inculcate greens around. It makes a very big difference if you have greens around, in and around your area, in and around your space. Say, may it be workspace, may it be, it gives a different impact, an overall different impact to your daily
Design.
life.
Yeah.
It gives you mental peace, it gives you relaxation. See, one tree planted, besides it gives you shade, it protects
Oxygen.
you, it gives you, I mean, oxygen is, I mean, I am
Base
not,
factor.
that is something, I mean, I don't want to talk about it, because we humans are really forgetting all that. But these are, we need to wake up. And if you, I mean,
I
everyone,
think they are because through
Yeah.
I think through changing times and through designers like you guys, there are many innovations and creative ways, which are lots of creative ways are coming and will come in the coming future, right?
Yeah.
For example, various concepts like terrace gardens, which were not earlier. No one would have thought how would have turned this concrete jungle into a green space, or where should I add green spaces in this concrete jungle. So there are various creative ways for designing, like facade landscaping, vertical gardens. Various factors are also coming. So with designers like you, I think it is possible. People are coming up with various things and innovations and stuff. So yeah, that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed and learned something new. This is Architect Siddhant, and thank you so much, Mansi, for being here with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I hope I provided a bit of information. I mean, it is a process. Every architect learns every day, is what I feel. I mean, there's learning from every project, every person you meet, every site condition, everything. So, yeah, I just hope whatever I have learned till now, I could share it with you all. So, yeah, thank you so much, Siddhant, for having me with you.
So that's it, guys. This is Architect Siddhant. Thank you so much, Mansi. And now I would like to sign off. See you next time.